Well, the winter concerts at the Thomas Crane Public Library in Quincy Center continue on Sunday, February the 4th from 3 to 4 p.m. with a special performance by Crow's Pasture. Crow's Pasture is Andy Rogovan and Monique Byrne. They are here right now to talk to us a little bit about themselves and about what you'll expect at the performance on the 4th. So welcome, Crow's Pasture.
Thank you,
Thank
Joe.
you.
A unique name for a unique duo of a married couple.
To each other.
To each other, yes, which is unique in the music industry to begin with. But kind of, I guess, a contemporary folk duo is the way you've been described in literature that I've read about you, at least. So maybe, Andy, if you could tell us first a little bit about the group, how you got together, and how you've ventured out in this new project.
Sure. Well, we actually got together long before we started playing music together.
Okay.
So we had been married for probably 8 years before we played music together. And we would play a little music separately. One night I was singing some lullabies to our kids while they were falling asleep in their bunk beds, and Monique came in and started harmonizing over the song that I was singing, and we get quieter and quieter and tiptoed out of the room when the kids were asleep, and we looked at each other and said, hey, that was fun, we should do some more of that.
Sounded pretty good, too.
Okay.
And so we went from there. We started a group called the Newton Family Singers, which is an intergenerational folk chorus of about 70 people.
Wow.
And we hire a professional musical director who's fantastic. So we worked with that group for a while. Then we formed a 5-person band called Waiting for Neil, and we wanted to sing some music that wasn't as appropriate for the family folk chorus.
Sure.
And then ultimately, about 3 years ago, Monique and I decided that we could, as a duo, be able to do a lot of other things that we weren't able to do in the context of the 5-member group. And so
Right.
that's how Crow's Pasture really came to be.
Do each of you have a musical background, or is this just a found talent later in life? Or I'm just curious.
Well, we have very different musical backgrounds. I mean, I played guitar when I was a kid in church, and then I was always in musicals growing up. But I was actually a dancer growing up mostly,
Really?
so I always loved music, and I loved singing, but I wasn't professionally trained or anything like that
Sure.
until like 10 years ago when we started the chorus, and I started taking singing more seriously and taking lessons and studying.
Okay, so it was a found and later
Yeah,
life talent then,
exactly.
but something that obviously was innate in you from very early
Right.
age. Yeah. So I mean, do you find that you gel well together? I mean, as a duo, musical duo, not a married duo.
Yeah, well, you could answer that question on a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
We love the music that we're able to produce, both the sound that we get by singing together and then the collaboration in terms of arranging pieces and developing pieces of music.
Oh, all right. That's which is a whole different area, really. It's just composing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I sometimes liken it to making sausages. You know how you never want to see how the sausage is actually made.
That's right.
It's hard work
Yeah.
for us, actually. So
Some yelling happens.
It's not. Yeah.
Passionate,
Like
right?
any good
Yeah.
marriage, there's some work.
Right. Right.
But
Give and take, as they
yeah,
say.
give and
Yeah.
take. But yeah, we're really happy with what we come out with at the end of the day, and it's really fun to be out performing
Yeah.
and recording. And
Were you
sharing with
professionally
people.
trained, Andy, yourself?
No, I did some songwriting back in college
Okay.
and for a few years after that, and then kind of put it aside and started up again. I became interested in banjo playing about 12 or 15 years ago when that movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou came out.
Oh, yeah.
And that got me intrigued, and so I started taking banjo lessons.
Okay.
And the banjo led me back through the mandolin, back into the guitar, back into songwriting.
All right,
So
okay.
it was a sort of a rebirth of something that I had done earlier.
It was something that was inside both of you,
Right.
really, that you didn't really foster until later on. And
Right.
yeah, it's kind of a match made in heaven, as it sounds
There you
like.
go.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice, yeah. Tell me about the name, Crow's Pasture. Where does that come from?
So Crow's Pasture is a salt marsh in East Dennis, on the north side of Dennis on Cape Cod Bay.
Sure.
And it's an interesting place. When the tide goes out, it goes out almost a mile, and there's some shellfish beds out there, and people can drive their cars out and make sure that they get back before the tide comes
Yes.
in. It could be a disaster. And we have spent some time down there on vacation, and it just is a beautiful place and
Peaceful.
peaceful, and
Okay.
made us feel like it would be a good name to carry.
So, Monique, how would you describe the music of Crow's Pasture to somebody who doesn't know anything about it?
Well, we like to sing very close harmonies, so it can be very intimate, and it's, we like to sing our own original music,
Okay.
but we also like to take covers from Bob Dylan or Leonard Cohen and really make them our own. So you know the song, but it's a very different sound when it comes from a man and a woman together.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, who would be some of your inspirations that folks would recognize?
So Gillian Welsh and Dave Rawlings are a
Okay.
nice duo that we have been very inspired by. The Milk Carton Kids, I don't know if you know them, but
No.
they're two guys who sing beautiful harmonies. People have compared them to Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
who else?
The Civil Wars.
Civil
There was a band
Wars.
called the Civil Wars. They've broken up now. It was a man and woman, and they were very inspirational because
Yeah.
they showed us how you could sing very intense and very intimate stuff that is beautiful to share.
So, what is it that you kind of hope your audience experiences during your performances? What's the message, the feeling that you're trying to evoke?
Well, the spectrum of songs that we sing range from covers that are familiar to people.
Yep.
And when people hear those, there's a comfort level and
A shared experience
a
type
sh-
of.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you can see
involvement.
people sort of reflecting back to when they heard that song, when they
Yeah.
loved that song,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So that's a part of our performances.
Okay.
We sing some original songs which are intended to be more challenging. Lyrically, they're tended to get introduce some ideas and some subjects and treat them in a certain way, and so people will interact with that as well. And then some of the covers that we do are covers that are not familiar to people. They're songs that someone else wrote that we've discovered and we want to share.
Okay.
And I guess those are sort of in between. They may not be as challenging
Yeah.
for the audience, but they're also not the pure comfort food that some of the real well-known stuff is.
Right, not the Peter, Paul, and Mary or Kingston Trio, Everly Brothers maybe, or things of that nature. Yeah. Do you actually have recordings that have been?
Yeah. Yeah, we
Published, right,
we just released our second album in October.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you,
Yeah.
and it's been doing really well on the
Good,
folk
good.
charts. The album was number 7 in October of the
Wow.
folk DJ charts.
Oh, okay.
And a song that we'll probably do today, "Edge of America," was number 3.
Okay.
So we're excited about that.
I bet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned child. How many children do you have?
We have 2.
2 children. Okay.
A 15-year-old boy and a 12-year-old boy.
Are they musically inclined also? Is this going to be a family affair in the future, do you think? Or?
Well, the 15-year-old has set it aside for the time being.
Yeah.
As all most
Let's put it
15-year-olds
that
do,
way.
right? Yeah.
Right.
And the 12-year-old, Felix, is an avid fiddle player, and he
Wow.
plays with us sometimes on our material,
Okay.
and then sometimes we back him up.
Oh.
He goes out and does some
Fun.
farmers markets and things like that.
Cool. Okay.
We're his poorly paid backup there.
Very poorly
He'll
paid.
be your manager one day. Yeah.
Exactly.
So talk to us about the performance here in Quincy. This again is on February the 4th from 3 to 4 p.m. What's going to be happening?
Well, we expect to mix it up.
Okay.
Play some of the covers and a bunch of the originals.
A lot of songs from our new album.
Yeah, we'll play some songs from the album, which is called Edge of America.
Okay.
And still some songs from the album that was released in 2016 as well, because that still gets a lot of attention, and we want to bring those.
Okay.
And then we're always working on new stuff, so it's likely that there'll be 1 or 2 new songs that
Try it out.
we want to try out and
Yeah.
see how they go.
Get the reaction. Yeah. Do you actually talk to the audience during your performances?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
He's a talker.
I'm the talker. In case you can't
He's a big
tell.
talker.
It's actually a big part of our live shows.
I would think. Yeah.
It's when I'm listening to a performance. Sometimes the music might be beautiful, but if I don't have a context for the
Right.
songs, I'm just not as involved. So we try to create a meaningful context for every single song in the program, and it's not a big speech before every song.
Absolutely.
Occasionally there'll be a little speech, but but it's just trying to create some context.
Yeah, I would think, especially with a live performance, to have that intimate connection, with the folks that are there at that particular
Right.
time. You can't experience that through any type of recording, really.
Right.
I mean, we play every song for a reason.
Sure.
And we want
Yeah.
the audience to go on that trip with us.
Neat.
And understand what we're doing.
Well, the fun thing is our audience right now is going to get to go on that trip with you because
That's
you're going to
right.
do a little performance here in our studios. Thank you for that. And have a fantastic show on the 4th. Really great to meet both of you.
Thank
and
you.
wish you continued success in the future.
Thanks, Joe. It's been nice talking with you.
Likewise, you're very, very welcome. And again, that is Crow's Pasture. That's coming to the Thomas Crane Public Library on February the 4th, 3 to 4 p.m. as part of the winter concerts at the Crane. If you'd like to get information about this or any of the programs at the library, just go to their website, thomascranelibrary.org.
I've been drinking, sometimes thinking of you. You knew just what you wanted to do. I have seen all the pretty people in your scene. Watched them on the TV, read about them in the magazine. Slow it down, look around before you hit the ground. You gotta slow it down. Yesterday I watched the sky turn dark. Late afternoon, it got colder, and I was older than you. Slow it down, look around before you hit the ground. You gotta slow it down. Close my eyes and I realize that my path still lies with you. Laughs and cries till we grow old and wise. There ain't no prize but you. Slow it down, look around before you hit the ground. You gotta slow it down. need a PhD to drive a cab all night the way I do. Before you raise your voice, tell me where you're going to. Back home they call me sir, and I'll take you where you wanna go. But you will never know. You will never know. You will never know the best things that I did. Oh, 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 edge of America. Oh, 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 edge of America. Oh, 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 edge of America. On TV screens and magazines, I see the things I need to buy. Another day, another way to make her cry. Pages turn too soon, and dreams of how it's gonna be. But you will never see. You will never see. You will never see all I left behind. Oh, 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 edge of America. Oh, 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 edge of America. Oh, 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 edge of America. It's cash on Fridays, English only spoken here. The shadow man, kicking back the nighttime fears. I'll bring her home before the money disappears, and I